All right. Well, welcome back. And now it's time for our long-awaited high school basketball preview for the 2009-2010 season. And I'm excited because I'm a big basketball fan, and I love watching our high school teams play. I even love watching high school teams that aren't in our area play. You know, sometimes it's every high school field, as much as they try to say they have their character and they have their home field advantage, they're kind of the same, more or less. Yeah. Obviously, some are better than others. If you look at a field like Voc Tech with the field turf, it's better than others. But basketball is different because you get into all these different gyms. Mm-hmm. You know, one minute you're in New Bedford and you've got 800 screaming people, and then the next minute you're in Old Colony and there's 65 people there, but the basketball is just as good.
Yep.
So it's my favorite time of year. And it looks like this year we're going to have an especially strong local high school basketball season, starting, of course, with the juggernaut that is Wareham High. Laurie, Buddy Thomas called this one of the best teams in the state, and you said he's even gone beyond that, talking to you.
Well, he said in his previews that he thought this was the most talented team in Wareham history.
And that's a lot of talented teams to compare against.
Yes. And he really thinks that this might be the year that they finally get through and get that Division III title. I know they've fallen short the last 2 years with a lot of talent. But, I mean, they have so many offensive weapons, it's hard to kind of look past them. I mean, obviously, you have to look into injuries and other things that, can happen over the course of a season. But they have 3 players that this year could reach 1,000 points for their career. So right there, it just tells you the kind of success that they've had over the years.
And they've all reached that plateau playing together for this time, which is even more impressive.
Yeah, I think last year they averaged in the high 70s, scoring per game. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same again this year. Last year's leading scorer was Jordan Resendiz. He's back. Also, Jules Tavares is back. Pat Murphy is back. Ryan Pina down low, he's back. And Darren Gray. I mean, right there is an unbelievable starting 5. A lot of the other teams in the South Coast Conference, are going to have trouble matching up with those talented athletes night in, night out.
Yeah, it's like an all-star roster, and even the bench. The bench has kids that would probably start on other teams, including E.J. Bennett making his return.
E.J. Bennett, Marcus Gomes, Mike Mendez, and John Lydon. I mean, those are a lot of the names that we even mentioned for football, super team members. So these kids are talented athletes, talented basketball players, and it's just, I mean, they know how to win in Wareham. So it should be exciting.
I know that last year, toward the end of the season, Darren Gray was somebody who kind of came on as a big scorer later on in the season. And I know that Jordan led the team in scoring last year. But I think this is the year that Jules Tavares is going to break out and be one of the better players in the state. He has the talent. He hasn't always pulled it all together. I was actually there when he had the Jordan foul line dunk, which is like we had an excellent photo of it. I'm not sure if it was Mike Valeri that took it or Dave Oliveira, but somebody took this photo that is just phenomenal. It's just him in the air going to the hoop, and that's the kind of talent that he has. And I think that this is going to be the year he breaks out. But I do know too, Kevin Bergioli made a change this year in their off-conference schedule and gave them some tougher opposition, which I think is going to be key to getting past, I think it's Scituate that they fall in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
So, maybe that'll be what puts them over the hump. But like you said, the other teams in the SCC have to go at them night in and night out, and there's a lot of talent across the league.
Yeah. I mean, one of the teams really to watch out for, I think, is going to be Voc Tech. They have a ton of senior leadership. They have 10 seniors returning with overall depth and size. The big question for them is going to be defense. It's right now it's a little suspect. In the early going. Plus, they graduated Billy Dias, so I mean they're going to have a hole to fill there. Jordan Burris, he's back. He's going to be playing. He's a solid player. Plays forward. Julian Avizendo. I hope I said that right. He's a Azevedo, maybe? Okay. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. He's an aggressive rebounder that they have down low. Ty Brenton is going to be their center. He's solid inside. And then Corey Figueredo, he's the one of their top 3-point shooters, senior point guard. So they should be solid. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of the same thing as the football team. They're going to be able to put up points, but can they stop the other team? That's going to be kind of the key to their success this year. Another team in the South Coast Conference to watch out for, I would have to say, is Fairhaven. They have 3 returning standouts. One is Taylor Mata. He's a senior forward. He's just a good all-around player. Adam Mullen, he is a junior forward. He had some big games last year as a sophomore and should produce again this year. And then the other one is senior guard Miles Paransovic. Anybody who's seen him play in any of the sports that he competes in, I mean, he's a great athlete. In basketball, he's a great three-point shooter, one of the top scoring threats in the area. The thing with Fairhaven is that they lack size and depth, so those would be the two kind of weaknesses this season, but maybe they can make up for that with these talented athletes.
The good thing, too, about the South Coast Conference is a lot of times you can be a smaller team and get away with it because a lot of teams depend more on quickness than they do in size in the conference. So, and they were a dangerous team last year. I mean, they ended Wareham's SCC unbeaten streak, and they surprised a lot of people last year. And I think this year nobody's going to be underestimating them going in.
Yeah, no, especially with a lot of those talented athletes that they do have that play multiple sports. Another team, that could surprise some people this year is Apponequet. Last year they were 8-12, but they do have a lot of returning players. Matt Jablonski is back. He's a pretty good shooter, rebounder. I expect him to be in the starting lineup. From last year, Sion Burnett, he's a 6'4" senior, 3-year varsity player. He was the team's leading scorer and rebounder a year ago, so a lot should go through him. Kyle Hirth, he's a 6'2" senior, 3-year captain or 3-year player. He can rebound, score inside. He'll probably have a big presence down low. And they're also looking for some good outside shooting from Matt Shell and Tyler DeMello. So I mean, maybe they'll get 500. Maybe they'll get a little bit above that. You never know. I know that they do have some players that do have varsity experience with those 3-year varsity players. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Old Rochester, they were under 500 last year too, 9-11. The thing is with them, they have a lot of versatile players this year that can go inside and outside, but they lack the experience. They don't have a lot of kids that have a lot of time on varsity. But Mike Days, he's a solid forward for them. He's got a good shooting touch from the outside. Scott Evenson, he was a reserve player last year, but the senior forward should see more time this year. And a player from the fall from football that really had a breakout year was Max Risch. He should have a key role also on the basketball team. He's a sophomore forward. The guards will be Nick Filoramo and Nick Wright. Those will be the two guards on the team. And Filoramo, he's a veteran. He's a returning guard for them. So they, they could have a decent year this year too. I mean, it's kind of tough to see early on. I mean, Wareham is obviously the clear favorite. In the SCC and maybe even in the state. Most people are probably projecting them, but
Old Rochester is one of those teams where, whenever they play Wareham, it's a battle.
Yep.
And I know actually, as we're recording this tonight, they're kicking off the season against each other.
Oh, okay.
And so that's, at least Wareham's kicking off their season, right?
Yeah.
So, and Old Rochester always plays them tough. And this goes back to when, Jordan Resendiz used to play for Old Rochester for a year with his cousin Jeff. And just when you go there for one of those games, it's always a slugfest. And most of these league games are.